Well, Evie, talk to me a little bit. How are you during this whole crisis, during this whole pandemic? How are you holding up at home?
I think I'm doing great. I'm trying my best. Some days are no, not so good, but I'm trying to have a positive mind. And every time that I look at my daughter's face, and kids are so innocent, she's always smiling, she's always playing. So I have to focus on that first, so I can be like balancing the most.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, let me tell you that it is a real honor for me to be interviewing you because
Oh,
I remember listening to reggaeton in the early 2000s, and it was such a male-driven space.
right.
And you were literally, I think, the only female at that time that was a part of the conversation, a part of the music.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, how does it feel, or is it kind of incredible that you started back, I think, in 95, 96, and then basically 25 years later, and you're still making music. Did you ever picture that all this time would pass and you would still be making music today in 2020?
Well, first of all, I have always admired strong female character in music industry. When I fell in love with music, is because in my house it was a mix between salsa and bohemias con guitarra. So my father was the bohemian one, and my mother was the salsa fire type of woman. So that's the combination that you hear in my house. Through my mother, I met Celia Cruz and La Lupe. Through my father, I met Daniel Santos. I met like a lot of Cuban and Puerto Rican singers, like deep lyrics. All you hear it was like nice contents. So that's where Ivy Queen was raised between that mixture. So with that said, I embraced the female power. When there was no social media, no record labels, everything was underground. Todo lo comprabas del trunk de un carro, your cassette, your CD. If they even caught you with it, it was over. So the struggle was for real, and I saw a space for myself. I saw a space for myself because the contents wasn't that nice towards the woman. Everything was like degrading lyrics, and it wasn't a nice contents for us to feel proud about it. So when I fell in love with music, I said, this is my spot, and I'm gonna, take care of the female side. So I work hard, and knowing and seeing the story of Celia Cruz helped me to build most of my craft. And, like I keep pushing doors, seguí empujando, seguí luchando, no? And trying to keep being original. I'm very respectful. I give respect to the guys, but I deserve the same. So I make a line between me and the guys, like, okay, you're making your money, you're making your cheese, so am I. So, whenever I come to the studio, is about to build music, produce music, write music, and get hits done. So 20 something years later, I'm still standing because I have the notoriety, la notoriedad que la gente dice, oh, Ivy is this badass bitch, like you. But I have to build Ivy Queen from zero. When everyone was against what being a female in the music industry was, like, my long nails, people was calling me Freddy Krueger, Edward Scissorhands, you name it. So I took the hit, bro. So 20 something years later, being standing for me is es un gozo, es un orgullo, it's pride, because I have something that not even I could tell my story to my daughter. The world will tell the story to my daughter.
That's a very interesting way to say that the world is going to tell your story. I think that's a very
Mm-hmm.
beautiful way of saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was fortunate enough to hear a snippet of your new song, and I wanted to know, I wanted to kind of know what inspiration came into creating this song.
Well, for guys, is more. easily and is more approved to say next when they finish their relationship, they jump into another one. And for girls, for females, it's kind of hard. It's not portrayed as the same. So I wanted to be create something to the same level. Like, they say, oh, female power, women empowerment. I've been doing my female empowerment, but with next, what I'm trying to do is create like, I can't say a hit because we gotta let the energy flow through it. But the girl's gonna have an anthem probably that they're gonna ventilate. Like, yes, you could do the same as they do. I've been saying this for the longest, for the past 20 something years. But next is very the el coro bien catchy. Is reggaeton, so you're gonna be able to dance, but you're gonna be able to ventilate. Like we at the same level. Well, more or less at the same level.
Mhm. And obviously, the song, to some respect, talks about having someone in your life, a partner in your life that's obviously no good for you.
Right,
You gotta move on, and you gotta say next.
right.
But I wanted to ask you, did you channel any ex from your past to the song?
Boy, I've been channeling all my life. All my life has been out there. When other females go through emotional situations and drown in tears, or go through the level of pain that as a human being you have to go through, what I did is go to the studio, grab my notebook, y mi lápiz, and started to write songs and ventilating through music. So music for me has been in therapy. So my life pretty much has been out there between songs and like Te querido, te llorado. When you hear En que fallamos, my life is a musical story that you can hear through the lyrics. And some of the story belongs to a friend of mine, because I used to see a lot of the party scenes in Puerto Rico when this movement was like very underground. Como Yo Quiero Bailar was born in a club. I went to a club and I saw the scene, and the pretty girls were having a hard time. Los hombres las agarraban, pulling them, like, not even inviting them to dance, like obligándolas a bailar, literally. So that's how Yo Quiero Bailar was born. So every song that I have put up there it has a story, a real story. Because I have always said I will not talk about a gun if I don't even own one, or I don't even he tenido una en la mano. I'm like very, very meticulous with words, and my life is pretty much out there when it comes about love. I've been an open book to the world.
And speaking about being an open book to the world, obviously you've been in the limelight for decades, decades. And I wanted to know, does it ever get tiring? Obviously, you get used to that idea, but do you ever get tired of constantly being in the news, constantly being talked about, not having maybe some privacy for just yourself or for you and your family?
I knew what I was going into when I fell in love with music, but it was first when it was underground. I didn't even thought it was gonna be that big, because you don't know what lives have to you. So until I have my first text, la primera prueba, like I went through a rough separation with an ex, and I have paparazzi follow me everywhere. Like they didn't let me ventilate, not even they didn't let me be. And that's what I knew. I was like, oh, this must be huge. I must be important if they follow me everywhere. So that's how I learned. And then when my father passed away, I couldn't even go see my dad because the paparazzi was at the hospital, at my mom's house. They were everywhere. They wanted to know what happened, why didn't me and my father speak, or even a couple of years ago when Anuel went and said whatever he said, and they was following me everywhere. I tried to talk about my music, and everyone was concentrating on the gossip and what he said, and what she said. So it was hard, but now I'm calm about it. I know people want to know about you, And es como una baraja de doble filo, you know, because cuando nadie quiere saber de ti, it's like, there's no point on it. So, ya yo he aprendido a manejar eso, like, oh, they want to know about me? Cool, I'm still popping.
No, you definitely are, but I always found that interesting about how life is in front of the camera constantly. So thank
Yeah. No,
you.
well, not even for the supermarket. I have to like look legit. You know, sometimes I try my hoodie, my hip hop clothing, but people look at my hands or even they me oyen la voz and they be like, hey, you sound like caballota. I'll be like, right? Everyone tell me that. I play myself though.
Sometimes you play it off like you're not even Queen.
Yeah, they'd be like, no, but you really, really look like her. I'd be like, oh my God, what a blessing. She's so dope. You know, I started to give props to my own self.
Oh man. Now, one thing that I also wanted to ask you is, again, so many years in music, what is that motivating factor for you to continue to deliver new music constantly? Aside from it being your passion, obviously,
Mhm.
what is it that constantly motivates you?
Contents. Contents. I'm a woman of contents. If I don't have music, I will have subtitles. If I'm in silence, subtitles. I will grab my social media and write quotes, contents. We need to leave a heritage of knowledge for the ladies and for the next generation. You know, I'm about contents. I was born in contents and en un contenido. I was born in when stuff was hard, and now these are hard times. This is time. Este es el tiempo para la gente creativa, for the creative people to look for a way to survive. So I have been doing music because it's my passion, but I think que más que mi passion is my mission to leave a great contents behind my name. Um, you know, it's something, it's tools that I'm leaving to my daughter, que no lo compras con todo el dinero del mundo. It's not about money. It's about the soul, how a woman make it from zero to make something for your own self. How I build the respect in the industry, and how I have dealt with so much, you know, with gossips, with being a star, which I consider that too higher term, but to be a public figure, I would say, una figura pública. So, no creo, sé que el querer dejar un contenido, el querer dejar tanto musical como escrito, como con acciones, because you could talk and actions speak louder than words. So that's why I do it. I don't see myself doing nothing else. That is my contribution to the world, you know, to whoever comes next.
Absolutely. I think
You
you were
see next.
that was a perfect plug, a perfect plug. Now, I really love hearing that because you were made for music. You were made for music, and I think
Thank you.
you're leaving an amazing legacy behind, and
Thank
you've
you.
been a trailblazer as well.
Thank you. Thank you so
And
much. Thank you.
you know, you're welcome. And you mentioned your daughter on multiple occasions in this interview, and I wanted to ask you, what is the biggest difference between Evie Queen when she first started to now Evie Queen, the mother slash artist? Is there any difference?
I'm being the same mofo. I'm being the same protective woman. I have always been. When I used to be in the noise, surrounded by guys, I used to take care of Baby Rasta, Gringo, Memo, Vale. Like mi instinto maternal was always kicking in, you know, like protective. So when Iobi came to my life, I didn't change at all because I was overprotective already, and I raised my brothers and sisters when my parents divorced. I think I became more worried, more paranoid of what are we doing with our youth. ¿Qué ejemplo estamos dándole a nuestra juventud, a nuestros niños? Is that what we want to leave behind? When you go to the social media and you read so many comments, and it's not even about me, like perhaps I was watching the versus between Monica and Brandy, and the amount of hate comments under the video, it was incredible. I was like, why people don't appreciate we have two strong women that used to have beef, leaving the beef behind and sitting down years later to play their hits and their music. So when I became a mother, I became more paranoid of the what if. What if I'm not here? What if it's someone trying to play her? The dad, he's always with us, but as a feminine figure in the life of Niobe, I need to keep it 100 with her. We don't lie to her because we don't want her to lie to us, meaning that we don't tell her that there's a fat guy with a red suit coming on por la chimenea to bring gifts. We don't tell her that there's a tooth fairy that you put we don't lie to our daughter. You know what I mean? We keeping it 100 for her. So same as the music, same as the way that I've been with people straight up. And some people don't like straight up things. They rather have petty lies to feel comfortable. When you give it to people raw, they be like, oh, she's such a bitch, or wow, we gave it to Niobe 100 because when she realized that she's going to go to the concrete jungle, it's going to be worse if we don't get her ready for what she's going to deal with. So I think that's the only thing that I changed is being paranoid. As a mom, you be like, oh my God, when she gets sick, oh, you have no idea. I become a nurse. I become a doctor. When she have cravings, even if I have argue with the dad, I trying to hide. You see me like hiding to get the candy, give it to her, because you are a kid just once. Then you lose all that innocence. That innocence goes through the door, and then you step into the real life.
It's a very, very good way of putting it. And last thing, because I know you have another interview set up coming up very, very soon. So this will be my last question.
Okay.
When it comes to your career, you've inspired so many different artists, and there's so many countless artists, whether it's Carol G or who have you, that look at you and they think that's the pioneer, that's the person who's opened up this avenue for me to succeed. How does it make you feel? I don't know if it brings up, again, touching on the motherly aspect, but how proud does it make you?
That too, but how can I paint it for you? It's like, I'm saying in Spanish.
Listo.
Mi victoria más grande no ha dependido de agarrar premiaciones, no ha dependido que me den 25 premios por esto, por aquello, individualmente. My biggest victory is that to this day, hasta el día de hoy, que me utilizan como referente. That's the biggest victory. That's how huge and complete I feel. That 20-something years later, you see Rosalia with long nails, Cardi with long nails, giving props to me. You see Carol, you see Farina, you see, that's a victory. Eso para mí vale más que me den 30 premios de whatever. You know what I mean? That's the biggest one. You earn that, you can buy that. So para mí es gigantesco.
Absolutely. Again, Evie, thank you so much for your time. Honestly, I consider it an honor to be talking with you.
Thank you.
Being half Puerto Rican, I'm a big fan of yours. So
Yeah.
again, thank you so much for your time. I wish you the absolute best and wish you all the success in the world.
I declare the same to you. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you, mi vida.